Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you both for your testimony. I want to go back to the Middle East and to what's happening in Syria. To what extent is Assad's continued, I don't want to say control over Syria, because I appreciate that he doesn't have control over the entire country, but to what extent is his position there an obstacle to our fight against ISIL? And what's the thinking about how to change that dynamic?
Well, the last part of your question is a tough one. He maintains the control because of his control of the economic levers to the extent that they have them. His focus is on the what I would call the western spine, say from Aleppo to Damascus. That's where most of the population is, and the major commercial entities, to include the ports. So he has surrounded by people who are committed to preserving that because they benefit from it. They are the minority. The Alawites are only 10%. So for them, this is an existential struggle. And of course, the irony is that we actually are in common in both Assad and his regime are opposed to and fighting ISIL as we are. And so it's a very complex array of factors there.
And to what extent has that affected other Arab countries in the Middle East and their willingness to engage with us?
Well, there's been, I think somewhat of a change. It's gradual, but the fact that many of these countries are participating in the coalition that General John Allen has been organizing. I do think the brutal savagery of the ISIL and the beheadings and then the immolation of the Jordanian pilot have had a galvanizing effect on opinion in the Mideast region. So I think there is more of a willingness to cooperate. There certainly is from the standpoint of intelligence sharing and our partnering with our counterparts in that part of the world.
And are you optimistic that Turkey will become more engaged than they have been?
No, I'm not. I think Turkey has other priorities and other interests. They're more focused on what they consider to be a threat, the KGK, the Kurdish resistance, if you will, in Turkey. Public opinion polls show in Turkey they don't see ISIL as a primary threat. They're more focused internally on their economy and this sort of thing. And of course, the consequence of that is a permissive environment in terms of because of their laws and the ability of people to travel through Turkey en route to Syria. So somewhere in the neighborhood of 60% of those foreign fighters find their way to Syria through Turkey.
And to move to Iraq, to what extent is Iran's presence in Iraq an obstacle to Abadi's ability to make the kinds of overtures and engage the Sunnis in the way that he needs to in order to keep
he's in a very difficult position, having to balance these competing constituencies. And clearly the Iranians have influence. They're there. They're helping as well in the fight against ISIL. He's got issues with his own Shia power base, since there are competitors to him. There's still great reluctance to fully include the Sunnis, which must happen. There are two laws in their Council of Representatives that are extremely important to the Sunnis, debathification and anti-terrorism laws. So he's in a very, very difficult position.
What I'm trying to ask you to respond to, and I haven't been as articulate as I should, I guess, is to what extent is Iran weighing their efforts to take on ISIL versus the Sunnis' role in Iraq? I mean, are they balancing that? Are they
Well,
just...
the fundamental interest of the Iranians, of course, is to preserve a Shia or Shia-friendly government in Baghdad. So that is kind of their underlying policy objective. And of course, ISIL poses a threat to the Iranians as well, and so they have an interest there in sustaining their aggressive combat, if you will, and assistance in opposing ISIL.
My time is up. Thank you both.